What's happening, family? Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. Peace to the gods and the goddesses. So listen, I wanted to have a few conversations with you all. Let me move this computer. I wanted to have a few conversations with you all, man. A lot been going on in the news, and I just wanted to get the opportunity to talk to my peoples. But what's really been on my spirit today, I guess just over the last few days, thinking about taking things to another level. When we talk about taking things to another level, we talk about, going from an idea generator, right, to being somebody who can manage the ideas so that, you are a creator and you are a project manager. 2023 to me, largely as a year, was definitely a year of taking a lot of ideas and executing them. We was able to tour around the country, and, everything in reality requires steps, right? I see some people, a lot of people that show up, of course, they're in complete support. People will always ask, what's next, right? Everything we do is independent. I don't know if people realize that. You may see me take pictures with people. You may be seeing me in different places, cultivating partnerships, networking. But everything that we've done so far, besides one sponsorship this whole time I've been doing this, have all come out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? So the thing that we build is going to require more time, right? Ain't no devils pay me, man. I ain't in nobody's pocket. I ain't on nobody's payroll. You feel me? We get everything out the mud. Every single thing. Nothing comes easy. Everything is earned. Every single dollar, right? And everything is by strategy and not by emotion. I operate from a place of emotion. We think about what is the strategy that we want to employ. So we're not worrying about, talking about certain things unless they are aligned with the strategy of where we want to go. The goal today is to win this war. You understand me? We live in a war of life. I want my family together. You feel me? I want everybody around me solid. I want to make sure that everybody's living at their peak and at their edge, and everybody ain't doing that. I don't want to be the only person that's guided by spirit and led by visions. I want everybody to be guided by spirit and led by visions. I want everybody to be able to tap into, their higher dimensional self and to know who they are. I want everybody to be getting money. I want everybody to have some power. I want everybody to have a platform, but we got a world that is largely led based on emotions and not facts, right? And people don't know what is your style of emotional, right, expression, and what is your style of, emotional filtering, right? A person can filter their emotions. A person can filter their emotions like a woman or like a man, like a slave or like a master. It's completely different levels. Everybody don't filter their emotions the same, but everybody ain't doing it the same way. And largely what I see in society is we have a society where everybody has a media platform, right? Everybody has a media platform. You have the ability everybody has a media platform, but not everybody are ethical journalists, right? And I got the glasses on, not to hide my eyes, but just so y'all can see these new society frames. Just so y'all know. Oh, man. But everybody don't do ethical journalism, and I'm stepping into that as well to learn what is the best route to go about doing ethical journalism. And I came up to this just because you realize that at a certain point in time, we reach a peak of people having capacity or access and democratization of tools. Everybody got access to social media to where you can put out whatever you want to on yourself or others, right? But the way you're going about doing it is a direct representation of your ethics and your education. So I was studying this, and we did a man-to-man podcast about this because, I think in 2024, I'm going to bring out the 19 Keys podcast because I don't do a podcast yet. We got a show, but the podcast is going to be different, allow me to stretch. Probably going to be 19 Keys Radio, not call it podcast, not like that. But, the idea is like, what is ethical journalism, right? And do you know how to understand the difference of what you seeing on social media, right? When it's a hit piece, when it's something sensational, when it's something truthful, when it's something non-biased. And I was really sparked this because I was looking at an article about Minister Farrakhan actually, and they were saying, why doesn't he speak on, or why hasn't he made a speech? Now, Mr. Farrakhan, like 90, going 91 or whatever. And they was asking, why hasn't he spoke on the Hamas or the Palestine versus Israel war, right? And at the bottom of this, at the bottom of this article, there was this meter that you can vote to say, is this pro-Palestine or is it pro-Israel or is it fair in the middle? Now, of course, I clicked on it pro-Israel because that's what the article seemed to be. And it shows you what everybody else overwhelmingly voted. And they say mostly everybody else voted that this is pro-Israel content, right? And I thought that was brilliant because in a very short future, you're going to not be able to know the difference between, what's truth and what's completely fabricated, especially as we have AI and things of that nature. Right. And so I was just studying to come up with frameworks that people can utilize either when they're creating the content or when they're filtering it to know the difference. You know what I mean? I can see somebody making up something about me. I ain't gonna laugh. When stuff is so fabricated, you just kind of laugh because it's so far from the truth that it's funny. Right. But then you realize that there are people who believe things because they don't know how to research. And media is a very manipulating and powerful and controlling entity. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous for you to be able to put out just anything. I'm not talking about celebrities in the industry. Them niggas be really doing that stuff, right? A lot of times. But sometimes they don't. But most of the time, 99.9% of the time. I ain't talking about that. But I am talking about the way that, we get caught up in propaganda, sensationalism. We get caught up in the hit pieces. We get caught up in things that are gossip or tabloids. And we don't know the difference between when something is non-biased ethical journalism or something is literally to serve an agenda, right? Or even when it's activism journalists or meant to advocate for a particular narrative. I believe that everything should be labeled, right? If something is news, it should be labeled news. If something is, if something is sensationalism, it should be labeled as that. If something is entertainment, if something is false. And then the only way to know is to literally be able to check off whether a person is following a framework, right? If a person is writing something about somebody, did you check sources, right? Or did you make sure that you double checked your facts and your information and your research? Did you reach out to that person for questioning, right? Because we have the tools to do journalism doesn't mean we actually have the ethical right to do it. Those are completely different things. And as somebody who wants to get into, more media, who wants to report news, somebody who wants to do it, I think the first thing is to get the education. And we be moving so fast with things. Before I used to get into anything, I'll make sure I stop. We do 6 months to a year of studying it. Then we go into it. Right. But nowadays, I feel like we got the ability to just pick up things and learn on the go. And then sometimes you becoming good at a thing. So the problem is that, the issue that happens now is once you get good at sensationalizing, right, and this is where your audience come from, you don't then want to go back to some ethical journalism because then you're going to lose your audience to somebody else who's sensationalizing the truth or over embellishing or just completely making things up. Right. And so this is why it's important, because if we're going to do black media has to have a source that we can go to that we know is non-biased, that we know is transparent, that we know is the best source to get information. But how do we do that if there are no standards, if there are no curriculums, if there are no frameworks, if there's nothing, and we all are just utilizing these tools and these media to create whatever campaign we want to, and we don't care if we're operating just like the devils or not. So it's like that to me is, something that's been on my mind just over the last few days, because I also thought about the idea of canceling versus consultation. What is the process for when someone does something wrong, right, to where you point it out, or is it immediate exposure? Oh, bro, you doing that wrong. Because if this was your family, you're going to check them first and be like, hey, this is the right way to do it. Do it this way. Then that person gets to decide whether they want to follow the right way or continue to do it the wrong way, right? Because you gave them a framework for being accountable, right? And correction. Because we don't do a lot of correction. We just do exposure. So it's like if you would correct your family before you would expose them, then how is it that you immediately want to expose somebody else just because they're not your family? That to me is a biased and unethical way about going at something, right? Let's see in correction first. But when we don't have connection and culture, then we don't even care about what happens to this person. We don't see them as a brother or sister. That's just another nigga I'm going to take down. That's another this, that, and the third. That's counter culture, right? The idea is, can you correct each other? And if a person doesn't want that correction behind the scenes, then now you can move forward because you can say, listen, I offer correction. They didn't want correction. Now I'm going to expose you to try to stop them completely. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this framework of like, all right, how do we go about correcting the culture? We don't want to cancel our own, you know what I mean, beginnings of trying to make something grow into a mature state, because then the question becomes, what is the intent behind what we're doing? Not just what we're doing. What's the intent? Because the goal is to not destroy the future of the possible builders. It's to teach you how to build correctly so we can actually have something. And like, that's the thing. Like, what's the intent? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could this person that may not have the correct know-how all the way, or may be immature, and you may have a better way of doing it, and you're like, whoa, bro, you know the way you're doing this, I don't think this is the right way. Here is the right way. Because it's like, you can't just point out to the guys in the street that's selling dope now, right, if you don't give them some other game to practice. You have to give options like, hey, bro, what you doing, this ain't the best way. Now, listen, I'm going to sell you this, the correction. Actually, here's the step 1, 2, 3, 4. Do it this way. Like, if that's the type of thoughtfulness we had with each other, right, we'll be solid. But we don't have that. We sit back like the FBI and the CIA and different people, and their goal, I heard this on a show, they said our goal is to not stop process. You know what I'm saying? They don't, what they say, we don't try to stop results, we monitor process, or something like that. And it's like we've become like the FBI to each other. You know what I'm saying? People just monitor and watch and try to build up these stacks of like, you know, hate against the person so they can create a case. They're not trying to correct a path before it becomes wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like we really take on the methodology of like the CIA will let you do something for years so they can catch you, so they can get you in something bigger, versus seeing a course correction and be like, listen, what you're doing is wrong. You know what I mean? This ain't the right way. And if you continue to do that, then we on your helmet. Then that will course correct people. But no, they want you to grow big so they can get a bigger case out of it. And that's the goal. It's like, the goal is to build up big cases on each other, right? Or is the goal is to correct each other so that this person can actually be a benefit to what we consider to be a culture? That's the conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I can promise you that most people don't care about the benefit of the whole, because we become a very separated people from each other, that we don't give a damn if, you know, this person can grow into a beneficial character for the future of, you know, a Black America. Nah. So that's where it's like, it's that difference of like, yo, you know, where do we want to go with this? And the goal is to just creating framework and be like, listen, if you ain't following this framework, I won't even take criticism from you. I won't take correction from you. I won't take hate from you. I won't take nothing, because that doesn't follow my constitution. I follow this constitution if it doesn't fit this. And I believe that we have to start putting that out there, because the problem with having this world of diversity is everybody believes and feels a different way about everything. And you got people that have different moral constitution, ethical constitution, value constitution, spiritual constitution, and they're judging each other based on following laws that are not in accordance to what their beliefs are, but not judging a person whether they're following the laws or what the accordance to that person's belief. You understand me? Like, I can't judge somebody in China whether they're following American Constitution or not, because that's not their laws of their land. I can't judge a Hebrew person for not following, Islamic law, or somebody that follows Judaism or Buddhism or Christianity or Catholicism, right? You can't judge each other off your scale of what's right and wrong. You have to judge them off theirs, because that's what they decided to subscribe to as their constitution. But we ain't really learned that formula, right? And we don't have empathy and care for what other people subscribe to. We judge them based on what our rules and what our laws are. Because the point ain't correction. The point ain't assistance. The point ain't uplifting. The point ain't helping. No, the point is destruction and destroying. This is why we don't get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? This is why we face with the same things over and over, because we literally create the cycles. Like, on a micro level, we're small dictators. It's easy to look at the 1% of them devils and knowing that they are devils. But when you become smaller forms of that in the way you go about doing things from your value and your ethics system, right, without correction, right? And look, I never speak from a place of perfection. I speak from a place of process. I'm always on that side of, all right, how do I do things better? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never saying that I've been doing things perfect this whole time, but that's what the point of sharing my thoughts out loud to you all is, to say that we can all go about doing things better. Because if we look at the industry is a self-eating snake. It has to. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not industry. I don't deal with people that's industry. We want people outside of it, so we don't want to bring the industry culture into this new culture that we want to build out, which is supposed to be a higher form. It's supposed to optimize on correct law and behavior. So if we optimizing on correct law and behavior, then we have to create a constitution that is connected to the outcome that we want to have. And the only way to know if a person is following that law is, number one, to know if they subscribe to it. Do you take an oath to it, right? And therefore, you have a standard to hold people accountable for. You can't goddamn hold, somebody that wants to be a hoe, and then somebody that wants to be a housewife to the same standard. And that's what we be doing. You be talking to the hoes using the laws of housewife, and they like, listen, I am a hoe. You not gonna go to a porn star and ask her why she doing what she doing. But what we literally end up doing in society is, people who have subscribed to a porn star lifestyle, we want them to then operate on the morality of a housewife. And it's like, nah, a bruh who claims to be a pimp, we want him to operate like a good father and a good steward of society. It's like, you have to deal with people based on the laws that they've described to take an oath to and subscribe to. I'm just saying, like, it only makes sense. Somebody tell me who they are, and it's like, all right, that's how I know how to deal with you now. I'm never going to put you at this level because I know that you subscribe to be at a lower level. That's just simple reason and reality. And some people want to stay subscribed to that lower level. And the more you want something more for a person that doesn't want for themselves, is a misalignment of your own understanding of who that person is. You want a lion to act like a goddamn sheep. It's crazy. A lion is going to have an alpha hunt mentality. But you want it to act like a sheep and follow orders. In this jungle of reality, we got different people that have different animals and anima. Right? But we've never learned how to truly recognize the anima of the different individuals that we deal with. And so therefore, we don't know how to customize the laws around those different people. See, it goes deep when you really deal with things. And then these people end up becoming subjugated when the lion is subjugated to the laws of a sheep, right? The lion, it becomes a shadow lion, faking like a sheep, but the lion side never truly gets integrated with the nature so that his behavior can have control over it, because society told him that being a lion is wrong, but the whole time That's the true nature of this person. So now he never gets to control it with positive expression and outlet of such nature. So then you get the deviancy, you get the darkness, you get the destruction, and then you get these other forces that appeal to the anima and dark side of these people that have been suppressing it, and they manipulate it. See, I hope y'all following me, man. I hope y'all following what I'm saying.